Hello everyone and welcome to the Sony IT Expo. My name is Pamela Scott. This is my partner Robbie Scott, and we are reporters for the tech division in Sony. We're here to tell you about some of the new product lineup that's coming out. And one of the first products is going to be the new television that Sony has released, and then I will pass it over to Bobby, who will tell you about the new PlayStation 4 and also the PlayStation Vita. Now, as far as the television goes, I don't know if any of you guys have ever had one of those family dinners on Thanksgiving where you have this horrible seat in the house and you can't see the television. Sony has essentially fixed that by creating the new widescreen cinematic television. What it does is give you, by having the curved screen, the full cinematic view that you would have gotten in the theater. And it allows you to see exactly what the director intended when he cut the film. Sony also has embedded it with its new triluminous display system, which gives you the full effect in terms of colors. You get the depth and the true-to-color scene that the director intended. Now, it also has a 6-speaker system built into it. 4 of the speakers are front-facing, and then 2 more speakers that create surround sound, and it gives you a great theatrical effect when you're watching the television. And now I'll pass it over to Bobby, who will tell you about the PlayStation 4.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like my partner Pamela said, I'm going to be talking to you first about the PlayStation 4, and then I'm going to talk to you about the PlayStation Vita. Now, Sony prides itself on its console gameplay. Like the name PlayStation 4, it had 3 predecessors before it: the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2, and the PlayStation 3. Now, what's interesting about the PlayStation 4 is Sony took into consideration the fact that the gamers wanted more and better gameplay on the PlayStation 4. The biggest competition that Sony's had with its PlayStation consoles has been Xbox and Microsoft. Now, when the Xbox 360 was released, it was the biggest competition, or when the PlayStation 3 was released, its biggest competition was the Xbox 360. Now, it was said that the PlayStation 3 had better accessories in the fact that it had Blu-ray player as well as built-in Wi-Fi in all of its consoles, but it was argued that Xbox 360 had better gameplay for online. Now, with the PlayStation 4, they wanted to make sure that they focused on the gamer more. And they did that by creating a bigger processor, a faster processor, as well as a bigger memory. Also with that, they created a new controller, and they upgraded the controller that they were using. The PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 2, and the PlayStation 1 all use the exact same controller. There were no upgrades created as they upgraded the console. This is the first upgrade they've done to the controller through PlayStation. The biggest upgrades include the handle, which include longer handles for better gameplay, as well as a new share button that comes on top of the controller. What this allows the player to do is, if they do something in a game where they get a trophy, or they do something where they want to share a video with some of their fellow friends online, they can do that by just the click of a button. Also, they've built in an audio jack on the top of the controller. Now, what this allows you to do is just click in a microphone or plug in a microphone on the controller and communicate with the people you're playing with online. Next, I'm going to talk about the PlayStation Vita. Like the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation Vita had a predecessor, and that was the PlayStation Portable, or the PSP. Now, the PlayStation Vita is an interesting piece because it is a handheld video game device. Now, some of you may argue that you can play games on your phone, and that is true, but the PlayStation Vita allows for you to immerse yourself in more in-depth games and allows for more games to play. What's interesting about the PlayStation Vita is it is actually powered by the AT&T network. That means that if you pay for the AT&T connection, you can play your PlayStation Vita anywhere and connect to the internet and play online. Also, it includes a touchscreen, which allows you a touchscreen and dual analog sticks, just like the controller for the PlayStation 4, which allows you to immerse yourself in the games that you're playing. Also, a very interesting thing that Sony has done with the PlayStation Vita is it's included a thing called crossplay. Now, what crossplay allows you to do is it allows you to play on what you can do with it is you can play on your PlayStation Vita and connect to a television and play through the television on your PlayStation Vita, as well as it allows you to play games that you can play on your PlayStation consoles, like the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4. So currently, The PlayStation 3 is the only console it can connect to, but in November when the PlayStation 4 is released, you'll be able to share games and play on those exact same games on the PlayStation Vita. Now I'm going to pass it back to Pamela to conclude.
All right, so what we talked about with you real quick was the world's first cinematic television, which Sony has released. And then Robert spoke to you about the PlayStation 4, which really includes the gamer in the process. And then the PlayStation Vita, which creates a new portable device, well, an upgrade on the portable device for Sony to really launch new products onto that. And then what Sony is doing right now is really bringing everything forward and creating a more modern version of everything that brings in what the consumers want and pushing technology to its limits. And I want to thank you all for coming today. Does anyone have any questions?
How much does the TV cost?
Right now, the price point for